Hi and welcome back everyone to the second video of our ExpressJs beginner learning series. Today I will describe you the most important fundamental of ExpressJs, which is creating JSON Web Tokens or JWT tokens from the Express side. So let's get started. So I welcome you all on our channel Code and Create with Amit. Today we are going to explore JWT tokens, how we create them, how we access them, and how to create a middleware which will decode it for our backend use to make the application more secure. So what is the use case of JWT token? Let me describe you that first. So JWT web tokens are encrypted from the backend. They pass to the front end to use when they make API calls for some protected routes. For example, after login you are getting user details. So now you cannot make the route public because sensitive data can expose. Okay, so for that you will be passing JWT tokens from the UI side to the backend to authenticate, that is a proper or valid user which is doing the calls. On the backend side you can validate to check if the tokens are coming right. So let's start. First thing, we need to install one package. If you see on package.json, there is no JSON Web Token package. So let's start it with typing simply npm. Let me increase the font size so things become a bit more clear. Npm install JSON Web Token. Hit enter. It says 12 package looking for added 14. So every package has some dependencies or others, so they also got installed. We have our package here. Now what we will do, we will write some code where into our entry point file where we are creating routes. So we can have something first. We are not having any other middleware, so you can do like app dot use okay. So this is another part. First we also need to import the new package just installed. Constant JWT will hold it and require the new token, like the new package name JSON Web Token. Simple as that. Now okay, we will come to that part later, but yeah, we can define here like the secret key which will use to encrypt your token. For example, we can say secret key is equals to any key. For example, our backend key. It is just an example. You can use anything here, no restriction. Now we will create a route which will be like app dot post. We can create it for login. Yeah. So login, the first one is the path, second one is the request and response cycle, the arrow method, the function body. Here you will write your logic about the API. What is this login means? So if I can explain you, let me start it. We use command here. Yeah. So for example, npm start, it runs on 3000. It is giving us 3000 because it is the initial endpoint we are hitting. Now for example, this login will appear after it like this. Okay, when you will be making API call, you can use this like this way. Now we can have a dummy user data because we right now haven't discussed anything about databases, so just use stub data for now. Stub means testing data or example data. Okay, ID from something like database, ID will be 1, username will be test user, and there could be email also, which will say something string test user @example.com. So for example, you make a API call and then get this data from database. Just assume this is coming from database. Now we will use this data to create our JWT token. How? Let's see. For constant token is equals to JWT dot sign start the body. Now here what will go? We will pass our user to it directly. Then the second parameter, first one is data, then the secret key, then the expiration time. Expire in how much? I will give it something 1 hour. You can give it anything, 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, based on your requirement. So it is done for this definition. Now we will return it to the like API.json. Here we will give a message, anything you can give. I am giving like token generated successfully, then our token. Okay, now save it, just restart your server, and here cannot get login because it is a post endpoint. Okay, so what we can do, we can use Postman. It is a third party API handler. You can see it give us message token also. Let me increase the font so you can see. Okay, it is not increasing the font. There is no way to increase font. Okay, leave it as it is. I tried, but it is not increasing the font, so no issue. I hope you can see this result, message and token. Now we will write a middleware which can be like a function. What is a middleware? Middleware is a function which comes in between the response and request, which comes from UI. Response, like for okay, let me explain again. So request is which coming from the place from where we are making a API call. So this has that data. Response is something which we will use to return data to UI. For example, you can see here we are sending a response in JSON format. So in between both of them a function comes which is called as a middleware. It has access to request and response cycle, and it can alter any of this. It can add more parameter to request, and it can also update the response also. Okay, so keep in mind what is middleware. Let me write a middleware for you here. For example, it can be function. Okay, so as I told you, in between login we will use a middleware to decrypt the JWT token and see if the user is proper, valid or not. So let's do that. For that we can have a method like verifyToken to verify our tokens with request, response and next. So what I just described you is like middleware is a function which has access to request and response objects, and when everything okay, it run the next function to run the next call wherever it is executing. I will describe you more. So now for example, constant we can say a bearer header which will indicate what we are doing is equals to, we will read the authorization token from request body, which is coming from the place from where we are hitting the API. So header, it is an array from where you can write proper spells, otherwise it will not read the data. AUTHO authorization From here you will read the bearer token coming from the place from where the API is getting called. Okay, now copy this, write the code. If type of bearer header is not equal to undefined, we keep in mind we are validating our token. If it is not undefined and if it is proper, then constant bearer is equals to bearer header dot split with space. We will split it because there is a bearer and token both will be coming. Now constant you split, so it will create two arrays. First one will be token, means it like array start from 0. I say first means first index, so 0 is a bearer string keyword. The second one is our token. I will show you how and what I mean. Then request dot token is equals to token. Understand what it is doing. It is checking if it is not undefined, then we are breaking our bearer token which is coming from UI to two different arrays. As we all know, bearer space the token comes from the authorization. Then here we are holding our token, we are updating our request object. See here, we are updating our request dot token object with the token which we have just get from the API hitting side. Now it's done, it will run the next tick. Okay, let's close it. Now if there is something wrong, then we can send error to the API hitting side, like response dot send status. Okay, there is multiple status codes which we use in backend while writing API calls. So this verify token is done here. Now we will write a protected route which will use this middleware. Okay, I will write here it is a middleware. Now write a new route which can say like app dot get endpoint. Now here we can say protected, then verify token coming or not, then the request response cycle. The code will not reach here if it gives error and if the tokens are not valid. So main logic is still protected and secure before we verify. So now we can do for example, it can be like JWT dot verify request dot token, which we updated just. Second is secret key because it will use to decrypt your JWT token, and then two parameter of this JWT verify error and auth data. Here if error appear, any kind of error is there, just send response dot send status as we done, like 403 unauthorized, else we can do response dot JSON. Here our message which can say something access, we are giving access to user to protected access to protected route, then the data which we just decrypted. What is decrypted data which we used, where it is, yeah, so it is used to create a JWT token. When you will verifying, that time you can get the data again. That's why we pass the data to that while creating the JWT token, because we know later we will need to know like which user we are verifying and what its permission, what its role, and what is the thing it can do using these backend services. So this is done. Is there anything we can do? Let me think about it. No. So let's try to hit this endpoint. Here is our postman. Create a new. Here we have token. Here we will use a get one. Okay, let me grab the endpoint from here. We are on localhost 3000. Just grab it. I will hit it without passing the token. Okay, so you can see what it is doing. You see we are having error. Is it really get? Yeah, get protected, and it is giving us error of what was the error. Code is okay. Let me restart it. I will show you. We can use mongoose to restart it automatically, but for now stick to this protected. Cannot get protected. Okay, and if we pass our tokens like this token, copy it, here comes to authorization part, bearer, pass it like this way, send. Again we are having the same error. Why is that? There is something wrong. Let's try to find. Okay, so back to the topic. I did some debugging and found like we were having two issues. First one, it was header, whereas we should have headers here. The second thing is our postman is by default adding a bearer string here, due to which if I can show you, it was becoming like this. Okay, as we were also having a bearer, and by default it was also adding, so I just remove that from here, and we have a clean bearer token like this, bearer plus token. So with first index we are getting it now. So let me show you again. Here you can pass here your token, the new token which we just generated. Okay, with this login endpoint, now we have again our protected route. So if I pass the valid token here and enter it, it says access to protected route plus the data which we used to create the JWT token. If I do just cut it, enter any random value and hit, it says forbidden with a status code. So status code of 403, because it means forbidden. Now again I will pass my tokens, hit enter. You can see we get the data. How we get the data? Let me explain you. So previously we created a login endpoint where we created our token with some test dummy data. Now we write a middleware which has access to request response cycle, which update our request cycle with token value extracting from the authorization coming from, see here, authorization. This will you will also use while calling the API. Okay, from there we will define headers like with a bearer also. So now if the bearer header is valid, we split our token. It has a string bearer plus string plus bearer token. We pass token with request, and then in the next step it says next. What next means? We hit the API endpoint, the middleware runs. It is, if it is have any error, it will it has any error, it will throw to the API or the UI. If it doesn't encounter any error, it will update data and run the next tick, which is this one. The next thing, now here the JWT verify works the actual logic to decode your token. Here if it verifies successfully, that's fine. If it finds any error, it will return 403 to the place from where the API is getting called. So come to the else part. It assume the auth data is valid and the token is valid. Now we return the response like this is the token, or we can say this is the user. So we can use this to get the actual user data from the token. And as you can see, this route is protected because we are reading the token. We can do more thing here, but I think this video will get too long otherwise. So let's stick to the current scope only. What is that? We created a JWT token with some dummy data. We return it to the UI. We created a middleware. We verify our data and run success. So that's it for this video. Please do practice, make your notes, and if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and do subscribing, so it will motivate me for next videos or the lectures or the playlist what I prepare. So that's it for this video. See you all in the next video. Thank you. Thanks for watching.